There are guitarists who become famous because they play faster, louder, or more technically than everyone around them. And then there is Buddy Guy. His influence comes from something harder to measure: the ability to make a single guitar phrase feel like an entire conversation. But how did a musician from Louisiana become such an important figure in the history of blues and rock? And why does his legacy reach far beyond the records that first made him known? To understand Buddy Guy, you have to look past the stage presence and legendary performances. His story is really about persistence, experimentation, and the way one musician helped connect generations of American music. The deeper you go, the more complicated his place in music history becomes. Buddy Guy was born in Lettsworth, Louisiana, in 1936, and grew up surrounded by the musical traditions of the American South. As a young musician, he developed his skills through listening, practicing, and performing, eventually making his way to Chicago. That move would become one of the most important chapters of his career. Chicago was already becoming a major center for electric blues, and Guy entered a scene filled with influential musicians. He absorbed the city's powerful guitar tradition while developing a sound that was unmistakably his own. His playing could be delicate one moment and explosive the next, often using dynamics rather than simply relying on volume. But that wasn't the full story. Guy's importance became even clearer when his influence began reaching younger musicians. Guitarists such as Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, and Stevie Ray Vaughan were among the artists who admired the blues tradition that Buddy Guy helped carry forward. His role was not simply that of an older musician whose work belonged to another generation. He became part of a musical bridge. Blues traditions that had developed through earlier decades were being rediscovered by rock audiences, and Guy stood directly in the middle of that transition. Few people noticed how important that position would become. His guitar style was deeply expressive, but it was also unpredictable. He understood that a performance could change character through timing, pauses, volume, and tone. Rather than treating the guitar as a machine for producing notes, Guy treated it almost like another human voice. That approach influenced the way many rock guitarists thought about expression. As his career continued, Buddy Guy became known not only for his musicianship but also for keeping the blues visible to new audiences. His performances carried the sound of Chicago while remaining open to younger generations of listeners. What happened next changed the meaning of his legacy. Guy received major recognition later in his career, including Grammy Awards and induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yet his importance cannot be reduced to awards. His greater achievement was helping preserve a musical language while allowing it to remain alive and relevant. He also demonstrated that a musician does not have to abandon tradition in order to evolve. Instead, tradition can become a foundation for experimentation. That may be the most interesting part of Buddy Guy's story. His legacy exists at the intersection of blues history and rock history. Without the musicians who developed the blues before him, his sound would not have existed. Without musicians like Guy helping carry those ideas forward, countless rock guitarists might have discovered a very different musical landscape. Today, his influence can still be heard whenever a guitarist bends a note with intention, leaves space between phrases, or treats emotion as more important than technical perfection. Buddy Guy's story is therefore more than the story of one guitarist. It is the story of a musical bridge between generations. He helped keep an important tradition moving forward without allowing it to become frozen in the past. And perhaps that is why his playing still feels alive, because the real legacy was never just the notes he played. It was the way he taught generations of musicians to make those notes mean something.